Hey Raiders fans, let's get right into it, because this week is shaping up to be absolutely critical for Las Vegas. We're staring down a matchup against the Tennessee Titans, and the stakes couldn't be higher. If you're looking for fluff, this isn't it. This is about how the Raiders can avoid another chaotic performance in Allegiant Stadium and finally start playing like the team we all know they're capable of being. The spotlight is on them, and frankly, there isn't room for excuses anymore. This is a team that has talent in spots, but right now it feels like the pieces aren't connecting, and that has everything to do with execution, decision-making, and a lack of discipline at critical moments. The Titans are a team that, on paper, shouldn't be giving the Raiders this much trouble, but we all know that games like this have a way of exposing every flaw if you don't prepare and adjust properly. Let's start with the most obvious, yet somehow overlooked, point: running the football. I don't care how many gadget plays, play-action passes, or complicated formations Chip Kelly tries to throw out there. If you want to control the game and take the crowd out of it, you need to establish the run. The Titans' rush defense is one of the weakest in the league, giving up over 600 rushing yards already this season and ranking dead last in terms of rushing touchdowns allowed to running backs. That's not something you ignore. Gentry has been electric the last couple of weeks, averaging 6.5 yards per carry, and that doesn't even account for his contributions in the passing game. The message is simple. Give him the ball, let him get into rhythm, and don't abandon the run in critical situations, especially when you're inside the red zone. This isn't a suggestion, it's a necessity. You run effectively, you control the clock, and you start taking pressure off Geno Smith, which is essential because when he's forced into high-pressure situations too early, the mistakes pile up, the interceptions happen, and suddenly the circus atmosphere in Allegiant Stadium is back before anyone even has a chance to breathe. Speaking of the red zone, this is another area where the Raiders have been mystifyingly inconsistent. Out of 38 red zone plays this season, Gentry has only carried the ball 9 times. 9. That is completely unacceptable when you have your best weapon standing right there, ready to finish drives. Over the past couple of weeks, the team has actually shown they can run the football effectively, but once they hit the red zone, it's like Chip Kelly flips a switch and forgets everything that was working. The result? An offense that is ranking near the bottom of the league in red zone efficiency, throwing passes to a quarterback who is struggling to make completions in tight spaces. It's a recipe for frustration, turnovers, and, honestly, embarrassment. If the Raiders are going to take control of this game, they need to put Gentry front and center in scoring situations, commit to him as their primary weapon, and build plays around his ability to find the end zone. Anything less is a gamble, and we've already seen what happens when the Raiders gamble against teams that should be beatable. Turnovers, of course, are the other side of the coin. Geno Smith has to protect the football. We can't keep watching him make ill-timed decisions or let frustration dictate his play. Leadership isn't just about calling plays or completing passes. It's about taking responsibility, showing composure, and earning the trust of your teammates. If interceptions continue, if mental errors continue, the Raiders will have no chance of taking control against the Titans team that will absolutely capitalize on mistakes. For all the focus on strategy and matchups, football ultimately comes down to execution, and right now execution in the passing game, particularly in high-stakes moments, is shaky at best. The key is to stay disciplined, make smart decisions, and let the game flow through the players who have proven they can make plays. Defense also cannot be overlooked. Pressure on the quarterback is everything against the Titans. Cam Ward has shown vulnerability when teams are able to get after him. And with the Titans' offensive line ranking among the worst in the league in terms of sacks allowed, the Raiders have a real opportunity here. The secondary will be tested, no doubt. Losing Jermaine Pratt has been a significant blow, but if the pass rush can be generated, it will create easier reads for the defensive backs and force the Titans into mistakes. That's a clear path to success, but it requires coordination, timing, and the willingness to adapt on the fly. You can't just line up and hope the opponent falls into mistakes. You have to pressure them, force them out of rhythm, and create opportunities for turnovers that will swing momentum back in your favor. Another glaring weakness has been the Raiders' ability to make adjustments during the game. First quarter performance has been respectable, but second and third quarters? A mess. Whether it's on offense or defense, the team has struggled to respond to in-game developments, allowing opponents to take advantage and build leads. If the Raiders want to avoid the circus, they need to show they can analyze, adapt, and execute in the middle of the game. Football isn't just about starting strong. It's about maintaining control, understanding what the opponent is doing, and making real-time changes that keep the team competitive. Falling asleep in the second or third quarter has been the defining characteristic of many of this season's losses. And if it continues against the Titans, it will not only cost the game, but potentially shake the foundation of the locker room as well. Which brings us to the bigger picture. If the Raiders lose this one, the consequences go beyond just a disappointing score. We're talking about trade rumors, potential changes in the coaching staff, and an accelerated push toward a rebuild. The team has talent, but talent alone isn't enough. Execution, adjustments, and leadership determine whether that talent translates into victories or embarrassment. Losing to a team like the Titans would amplify all of the pressure already on the coaching staff and players alike. Certain positions, particularly in special teams and the offensive line, could face scrutiny, and decisions about moving players or rethinking strategies would likely have to happen immediately. The reality is that football is unforgiving. Opportunities to correct mistakes are limited, and every game counts towards shaping the trajectory of the season. Ultimately, the Raiders have to take ownership of this game from start to finish. That means committing to a strong running game, using your best players effectively, protecting the football, generating pressure on defense, and demonstrating the ability to adjust mid-game. Nothing less will do. This is about restoring credibility, showing the fans that the team is capable of executing a game plan and setting the stage for the rest of the season. If all of those elements come together, there's no reason Las Vegas cannot walk out of this matchup with a victory, but requires focus, discipline, and a refusal to let past frustrations dictate the outcome. It's a test of character as much as skill, and the Raiders are going to have to pass it if they want to stay relevant and competitive in the league. Now, let's break down the individual matchups and the strategies that could completely define this game. The first thing that jumps off the tape is the Titans' defensive line, specifically Jeffrey Simmons. He's arguably one of the best three-technique defensive tackles in the entire league, and he will absolutely challenge the Raiders' interior offensive line. Jordan Meredith is going to face his toughest test of the season, no question about it. But this is where the running game becomes even more critical. You don't necessarily have to run straight at Simmons on every play, but the Raiders need to create angles, use motion, and get creative in the backfield to open lanes for Gentry. If they can consistently move the chains and establish the run, it will force Simmons and the rest of the Titans' front to respect the threat on every down, which will, in turn, open up opportunities in the passing game and make play action work. The key word here is consistency. You can't just run once or twice and then abandon it when things don't immediately explode. You have to commit, keep the chains moving, and punish the Titans for failing to adjust. Red zone execution is the next critical piece. Right now, the Raiders are bottom 5 in the league in red zone scoring percentage, and that's partly due to a baffling coaching philosophy. Chip Kelly seems to completely forget about his most effective players when the team reaches scoring territory. Gentry has proven he can punch it in, but too often the Raiders pivot to a pass-heavy approach that simply hasn't worked this season. Geno Smith has struggled to find consistent success in tight spaces, and yet the offensive design somehow relies on him to make perfect reads under pressure. It's a mismatch waiting to happen. To avoid disaster, the Raiders need to trust their instincts, trust their players, and put the ball in the hands of those who can consistently gain yardage and score touchdowns. If that happens, the team can avoid stall drives and, more importantly, keep the Titans' offense off the field. Time of possession is huge, and the Raiders controlling the clock could very well dictate the tempo of the entire game. Turnovers are the Achilles heel of this team, and Geno Smith has to understand that leadership isn't just about standing in the pocket. It's about making smart, calculated decisions that put your team in a position to win. Interceptions have a ripple effect. They kill momentum, they demoralize teammates, and they fire up opponents. If Smith can stay composed, protect the ball, and avoid forcing throws into tight coverage, the Raiders will automatically increase their chances of a positive outcome. And it's not just about the quarterback. The offensive line has to hold, the receivers have to run precise routes, and the backs need to secure the ball on contact. Football is a team sport, and a single turnover can undo an entire drive's worth of effort. So minimizing mistakes is as essential as any X's and O's strategy the coaching staff could draw up. Defensively, pressure on Cam Ward is non-negotiable. The Titans' offensive line ranks near the bottom in sacks allowed, which means that if the Raiders can bring creative blitz packages, rotate pressures, and confuse the rookie quarterback, it could lead to game-changing plays. But here's the rub. The secondary must hold up. With key players lost to injury and depth concerns at safety and cornerback, the Raiders need their defensive backs to stay disciplined, avoid overcommitting, and be in the right position to capitalize on mistakes. This is where coaching adjustments come into play. Cover 3 alone won't win this game. There has to be variation, unpredictability, and a willingness to mix schemes in order to force bad decisions and turnovers. Right now, the Raiders have only forced 4 turnovers all season, ranking them 22nd in the league, so creating pressure that leads to turnovers is a massive opportunity to swing momentum. Field position is another subtle but crucial factor. The Raiders have consistently started drives near their own 26-yard line, the worst in the NFL, which puts immediate pressure on the offense to move the ball and reduces the margin for error. If they can improve starting field position, even by a few yards, it opens up play-calling flexibility, reduces risky third-down situations, and allows the team to dictate the pace of the game rather than reacting to the Titans' strategy. Shorter fields mean more opportunities to score, and in a game like this, every yard counts. Mid-game adjustments are going to determine whether the Raiders can avoid another circus. The team's performance in the second and third quarters has been notoriously weak, and that has often nullified strong first-quarter starts. Chip Kelly's scripting can get the offense moving early, but once defenses adjust, the Raiders have struggled to respond. This isn't just an offensive problem, it's defensive too. Momentum can shift quickly, and if the team isn't prepared to counteract it, the Titans will exploit those weaknesses mercilessly. The ability to analyze, adapt, and execute mid-game is what separates competitive teams from those that simply collapse under pressure. For the Raiders to succeed, they need to make every adjustment count, both in real time and in terms of overall strategy for the remainder of the season. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Las Vegas Raiders. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. The NFL rumor mill is buzzing, and it seems the whispers are becoming hard to ignore. Joey BOSA, one of the league's most feared pass rushers, has reportedly been announced as a new member of the Las Vegas Raiders. If the reports hold true, the Raiders could be about to unleash a defensive nightmare on opposing quarterbacks across the league. Sources close to the team suggest that this move is more than just a splashy headline. It could signal a full-on strategy to turn the Raiders' pass rush into one of the most relentless in the NFL. BOSA, known for his combination of speed, strength, and football IQ, has been linked to several teams over the past few months, but whispers of a Raiders landing spot have persisted. The Raiders, already boasting a sturdy defensive line, could see their pressure schemes evolve dramatically with BOSA in the mix. Rumor has it that head coach Josh McDaniels has been quietly plotting a new defensive alignment, one designed to maximize BOSA's ability to disrupt plays before quarterbacks even have time to set their feet. League insiders are speculating that BOSA's presence could immediately alter the Raiders' defensive identity. Imagine a scenario where opposing QBs have less than 2 seconds to make a decision, an environment where mistakes are almost inevitable. The chatter around the league suggests that BOSA isn't just a single-season fix. He could be the cornerstone of a defensive renaissance in Las Vegas. Fans and analysts alike are wondering how this addition might impact the AFC West, where rival quarterbacks suddenly have a legitimate reason to worry every snap. Of course, not everything is confirmed, and in the world of NFL rumors, skepticism is healthy. There are murmurs that contract details and final medical clearances are still in flux, meaning the story could evolve, or even fall apart, before the season begins. But the very fact that Joey Bosa's name is being linked to the Raiders has already sparked excitement and speculation across social media and sports talk shows. One thing is clear. If this rumor proves true, the pressure on opposing quarterbacks is about to reach new, dizzying heights. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Las Vegas Raiders, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.